Hi, and thanks also on behalf of the Institute for Habsburg and Balkan Studies, who is kind of co-hosting this meeting. Apart from being the place that the present people have been joining in the last half hour, we are also kind of the data provider for one of the data sets that we will be working on, and that would be the Ministerratsprotokolle der Habsburger Monarchie of the Austrian Habsburg Empire. And at the moment we are the Ministerratsprotokolle der Habsburger Monarchie are the data set that has been strangely elected as a prosopographical data source. We are talking about 28 volumes of printed books, and that translates to about 16,000 pages that we have been editing or transforming into a digital edition in the last 2 years, say. And only recently in May we launched the web application that I'm showing you in the slides. We're talking about 5 million tokens. We're talking about governmental documents that in theory talk just about everything, ranging from shall we build a railway to Galicia, or should we start a war against Serbia, or should we perhaps give a special pension to this one widow of a railway instructor, a railway engineer that died by rail accident. Stuff like that, ranging from these very specific and personal things up to the big historical, political discussions of the late 19th century. All of this is in this large data set. Obviously, most of that is in form of natural language, but we are working on it to get it more structured and to find out the prosopographical data that is hidden in the data set. And this is kind of how the Ministerratsprotokolle came to be the #1 source for this summer school. Obviously, there's persons, institutions, places mentioned all over the place. What I can briefly show you is the index of the persons. Right now we have 257 people mentioned in the data set, but this is only referring to the ministers taking part in the sessions of the Ministerial Council. There's more and way more in the data, and so this is basically what we already have, and I briefly refer you to the other data set that we created from this. That is the index data that we modeled using the APIS interface that Matthias was already mentioning. So this one example would be Alexander Bach. He was minister for the Justice Ministry from this time to that time, and so all the relations of one person. We have the data now for the ministers, but there's more in the data, as I mentioned. So we already prepared structured data of all the ministers and all the people taking part in the Ministerratsprotokolle themselves. So that's basically what I am supposed to tell you about the Ministerratsprotokolle. One more thing that I wanted to mention is that this somehow also relates to a larger effort together with Thomas Walnick from the University of Vienna, and also with other people from the ACDH, where we started a small project to model the relations, and especially the office titles and the possible relations between institutions and persons under the presumptive title of digital Habsburg platform. That's one of the other contexts that we are using this APIS interface for. Okay, that's probably enough from my side, and I'll hand over to Georg here. If there are any questions concerning the dataset, I'm also on the chat every time.
So Stephan, even he might change room and go to his office on the other side of the corridor, but he will be able to help us. It's a German corpus, and we thought about this. We know that lots of you know enough German that you might understand this, but several of you don't. So you will probably not understand each description, but you will probably see the structures and see some problems you will have, because we use a language which is not modern English. And that's something which triggers lots of problems to be solved in the process of creating a prototypical database, because most of the tools existing consider the only language existing modern English. And that's, we all know about the case. As Stephan reminded us and me of the hospitality of the Institute für Habsburg-Forschung, Habsburg and Balkan-Forschung here in Floor, I'm happy to mention two other supporters which are much less actively involved than the IHB with Stephan, which is the IMAFO, the Institute for Medieval Studies here at the 2 floors upstairs, which is somehow helping us, and the other is the Austrian Biographical Lexicon, which is part of the ACDH recently became, where Matthias already showed you, learned his things or developed his things, and which he talked about already a bit, and which we use as a second data set, where we have already some kind of cross-cognitive data. Charles, you're not supposed to be already here. That's the keynote speaker of tonight, and he has found time to come here. Charles, you want to introduce you very briefly before we go to the first break?
Okay, well, I'm looking to this evening. I was just dropping in to see, I missed actually the opening speech, but I just dropped in to see how everything is going, and I'm looking forward to this evening.
Okay, great. So to announce somehow the first possibility to leave this room or leave your seat in the wherever you are sitting, and we will gather in 5 minutes time.